Welcome back, everybody. For the first time, we're actually going to do a React video, and it's going to be a React Inception because we're going to react to Hikaru's reaction video of Fabiano's interview with Greg Mustreader, new YouTuber, at least in English language. A podcast interview that you did during, I believe, Uzbekistan at the World Rapid and Blitz. Is that correct, Fabi?
Yeah, this was before the event started, which explains why some of the things in the interview didn't take into account the results of the World Rapid and Blitz Championship, Magnus winning because it hadn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this might actually be not the final reaction because it's possible, we can't say for sure, but it's possible Hikaru will react to us reacting, to him reacting, to me reacting to cheating. And we'll see.
Absolutely. So I have a few timestamps that I think we want to address, especially you want to address. Hikaru had some questions, had some remarks as well about the interview. So let's take a look and see what you have to say about it.
Yeah, I just want to preface by saying that like I'm just trying to clarify parts because I think that we're all on the same team, basically. Hikaru and I, we just want the best for chess in general. We both could be wrong about things. We both could be right about things, but just want to clarify because obviously things I say, I can't always like go into, especially in this interview, I couldn't go into huge detail because he wanted to keep it very light on the cheating because he discussed cheating a lot with Jan. And with me, he just wanted to kind of do like 5 minutes. So I basically just tried to blitz out all my cheating thoughts, and wasn't able to, let's say, give every detail and clarify every thought.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's get into it.
And this is where I'll stop for a second as well. I will say though, if chess players are going to be this paranoid, and you think that like people have implants under their skin or things like this, the honest reality is, if you really believe that that's the case, we should all just pack up our bags and go home. And chess should never happen. I mean, professional chess tournaments should never happen again. If you really want to believe that people are going to be doing stuff like implants or otherwise, let's just call it a day, and let's not have any professional chess tournaments with money anymore. I really am just going to say that because to me, it's very clear that we get to that stage of paranoia where you think people have implants and everything. Like, you've been watching too many spy shows or something, because that's not reality. If you really believe that, then just like, let's just call it a day. Honestly, let's just call it a day, and let's not have professional tournaments ever again. I really do believe that.
All right, so this is the first timestamp. Let's say you were talking about, the tide of turns when we're going to have implants under the skin and we're going to be able to basically check the engine. With that, I can add in, let's say, another perspective. Let's say just, Ray-Bans, for example. They right now have Ray-Bans with cameras attached to them. And you basically get to see what you're doing, what you're seeing with the glasses. I think it's easily implementable that you're going to have at some point Ray-Bans with camera that's not even going to show. You're not even going to be able to know that it's there. So these things are definitely possible. I don't know how many years we're away from that. Implants under the skin, I think they're already, in fact, doing that, if I'm not mistaken, for payment purposes and things of that nature. So I don't think it's necessarily spy movie stuff. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack here. So the reason why I mentioned even implants is because I just mentioned FIDE measures, which include thermal scanners. And the reason I mentioned those is because I know that that's going to be implemented in the candidates, thermal scanners. And I don't know about the risk that someone will actually do any of this stuff. Probably very low, especially at the highest level. Probably close to zero. And I don't even know how realistic it is. But I just mentioned that in terms of what FIDE was trying to protect against. Now, I don't know the technological side of it. I don't know if implants are a likely thing. I'm pretty sure that smart glasses are not a concern at the moment in the events in which they're protected against, which is, for example, Magnus mentioned the Champions Chess Tour. They had a device which would have detected smart glasses, and they were scanning my glasses,
Okay.
for example. But again, we're talking about chess as a whole, and not all tournaments have measures that could protect against that. So definitely there are some high-tech stuff, we can call it, which would be a concern in, for example, open tournaments which would be a concern in online tournaments because, of course, there's a lot of different types of events, and we are talking about all sorts of chess events, not just the candidates where everyone's on high alert and wants to protect against everything, but also Title Twos. Well, Title Tuesday, we don't even have cameras, but also the Champions Chess Tour events and all the big money online events and the open events where there's usually no measures, especially as you know, American Opens, where you have hundreds of players and basically nothing is really being monitored. And definitely there is a possibility if someone wants to. So then that's where we get into the people have the opportunity. Will they actually take advantage of it? And probably the percentage of people that will take advantage of it is very small. But it only takes a few to ruin a tournament. And we have had cases in the past. We know that. So it's not like everyone's fair, and we can't totally run on an honor system. Now, in terms of like the high tech stuff, spy stuff, and if we get to that point, chess is done. I don't think we're at that point yet, especially in online chess, in over the board chess. I think online chess has some very serious obstacles to overcome, and I really want the like chess.com and other major websites to overcome those obstacles because I want chess to be clean, and online chess has hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake, and we'll probably get into that a bit later. But there's a lot of money there, and I'm also one of the players who's playing, and I don't want to be suspected. So I want there to be no chance that anyone can cheat. I don't want to be suspected, and I don't want to suspect my opponents either. So that's just a little bit about that. But I don't think that chess is done. I mean, this is certainly not the case. We'll definitely just have to adapt to the ever increasing possibility that technological advances will allow cheating to be implemented more easily. So at the moment, we might always be a step behind because, of course, technology increases, and we have to understand what they might do and then protect against it. But when we understand that what they might do, we're already a step behind them, right? So anyway, those are some of my thoughts about Hikaru's statement here.
No, and I definitely think that directionally we should be moving towards an open discussion about cheating, because obviously cheating is a big problem. And I don't think we can approach it as in, okay, if there is rampant cheating, there's nothing we can do, and basically close shop for professional chess. And I guess what he's talking about, professional chess online. I guess this is his address, let's say, because over the board it's much more difficult, and I guess it's much more complicated to do those things. As you were mentioning, thermal scanners, I would assume those can, in fact, catch chips under the skin as well. So that's for over the board.
I just want to say one thing, that there is precedent. It's not just the Feller case. It's not just the Ivanov case, which are famous. It's not just the Nigolidze case.
I was going to get to that.
Brausis. Yeah, we'll get to that. But there's other cases as well, and some of them are more high tech. It's not just people checking the phone in the bathroom. It's also people who have an ear device and things like that. So the fact that I think Hikaru's being a little bit too cavalier in saying that like this is all science fiction. It actually, some of these things have happened. Maybe not like implants, but definitely earpieces, which he doesn't seem to like think is such a huge concern. Well, it actually has happened, and that we know of. Like it's something has happened that we know of. There might be more cases that we don't know of, but we know that already something has happened in over the board chess, and in online chess, of course, there have been many cases of cheating that have been caught. So to say that it's like not really an issue, well, it already has been proven to be an issue. The question is how big of an issue. Like if you told me chess.com catches 100% of cheaters, then I would say it's probably not a big issue. But I would guess more likely that chess.com captures a percentage of cheaters, which is not 100%. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's 70, maybe it's 40. But whatever it is, I would guess that they don't catch all of them. I mean, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And so still, we have an issue, right? I mean, there are players who can probably cheat undetected. They might have a system to do so. Anyway, that's another point.
Yeah, and in fact, you mentioned Feller and Rausis. He is mentioning this at one point in this reaction video, and let's take a look at that.
Examples, and now it's become this big issue when there have been no examples of people being proven cheating at the top level.
Let's take it a little bit.
Igor's Rausis. Those were the two obvious examples, and now it's become this big issue when there have been no examples of people being proven cheating at the top level. So that's the problem of what's going on here. Now, the second part about online as it relates to Title Tuesday, I don't know if Fabiano is going to get to this. If Fabiano is saying this, why is it that when you look at Title Tuesday, you have people at the very top who are well-known top players who are proven finishing up there every week? Magnus is always up there. Maxime is up there. I'm up there. Duda won the last Title Tuesday. Fabiano, I don't know if he's won one recently. I think Aronian won recently. Like, what is he saying? Is he saying that someone's cheating in one game in a Title Tuesday? Like, what is the rationale for that? That's what I don't understand about this, is that if that's this is what Fabiano is saying, like, he's saying someone is cheating in one game, just to get a ride, just to piss me off or piss Fabiano off or piss Nepo off, and then of course they don't even win prize money. Like, is that really the world we live in? Because that's just so stupid and insane to even suggest.
Okay, so first of all, let's address the first part. He's mentioning, as you also mentioned, Feller and the Rouse's case, but we also know that there's been more cases than that. One in particular, I think it was this case of the alleged cheater, Borislav Ivanov, if you remember this guy. I think he was a FIDE Master 2200. He got a few GM norms, or at least he was making GM norm performances. And then at some point he got caught, and nobody knew how he's doing it. This is at the inception of the anti-cheating measures and things of that nature. And at some point during a tournament in Spain, if I'm not mistaken, he got caught with a device on him, and he was given the option of telling the organizers about the device and continuing the tournament, or just allowing the organizers to cancel him from the tournament, but not tell them about the device. He chose the latter. He chose not to disclose anything about the device. So there's been cases where people have been caught with physical devices on them.
Yeah, so okay, the first point, yeah, Feller is a famous case. I just want to explain the case, is that it wasn't just the Olympiad, but the Olympiad is the famous example where we know that he was cheating. It was also other tournaments for sure, and they had a system which involved multiple people, and basically they had someone who would relay the information to another person who would relay the information. The first person would relay the information over phone text to another person who would relay the information to him via signals. And one important thing to mention is that in some of the games he was cheating, he did actually lose. Mm-hmm. And in the event, it actually might not have looked like cheating because he lost games, he made mistakes, he played in sort of a human manner, you could say, because they were sort of smart in some ways. They weren't trying to play the computer's first line, which gets you caught because nobody can do that. And if you do something like that, then you sort of remain under the radar. They just got caught because they had too many people involved. It was 3 people, and one of the person's phone text messages got leaked, and it was all and that person was also in the French Chess Federation, and it all got exposed in a very public way, in a way that they couldn't avoid it. But if you don't get exposed like that, like they were actually caught red-handed. If it had only been the moves and the results, he would have never been caught, ever. Because his games did not prove anything, his results did not prove anything. He was a strong grandmaster who became a bit stronger, but he didn't perform at like 2,900 in the Olympiad. He performed like 2,700. He was 2,640. I mean, it wasn't even.
It was close. Much. It was close. Yeah.
Yeah. This is one thing I'm saying. The other thing is, of course, Ivanov is a famous case of a more sophisticated sort of system. He wasn't looking at his phone, and he wasn't using a second person, as far as I know. He had some sort of device on him. And eventually he was banned. And also the guy was like a serial sort of thief crook. I mean, he got arrested.
He got arrested.
He got put in prison for some sort of like fraud or something.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's another thing. Also, Ivanov was easier because the guy wasn't like very good compared to, let's say, Feller or Grandmaster. Nikolidze was another case, but he was a Grandmaster, but he got caught with his phone. And then they took away his Grandmaster title. Rouses also got caught with his phone. This is like stupid cheating. There was one Indian guy who had an accomplice and an earpiece. and was caught because the guy basically was not a good chess player, and his results were just too good, and he was just playing the first line. So his way of cheating was sort of smart, but he was just playing the first line because he didn't understand anything about chess, and he went from 1900 to 2500, and eventually got banned for like 10 years. But that was an earpiece. Now, imagine if it's not a 1900, but a 2500, and it's not over the board, but it's online, and that 2500 suddenly becomes 2600. And this actually goes into Hikaru's second point, which is, why would someone cheat? I think Hikaru's mistake here is that he's thinking about it from his own perspective, which is that he is one of the best players in the world, and he doesn't have to cheat to get very good results. And so he's thinking about it like, I have a lot to lose, I have nothing to gain, so of course I'm not going to cheat, and he's portraying that onto everyone else. And the reality, as far as I can tell, and I think I have a lot of kind of personal data to draw upon in this, is that a lot of people cheat for a lot of different reasons. It's not just to make $1 million or to become the best player in the world. Some players cheat because they want to make a bit of money but remain under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
They boost their results somewhat, they make some money, but they don't make enough money that they're standing out tremendously.
That's right.
Some players cheat very spontaneously because they don't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose, and some players just can't handle it and they cheat. Everyone who's played on ICC back in the day knows that playing for absolutely nothing, you will encounter some cheaters. Absolutely nothing. Just for like rating points that are completely meaningless, that nobody looks at, no prize money, not even bragging rights usually, and people still cheat. And this is not just in chess, but you play any sort of mobile game, you'll understand that people cheat in whatever small ways they can, because it's just kind of human nature to really want to win, and very often to do whatever you can for that. And okay, so when it comes to like people cheating in meaningless chess.com games, obviously this happens. Anyone who's watching this video, if you play on chess.com, you will every once in a while get a message, we caught one of your opponents cheating, your points are refunded, and so on. I promise you, those people, they have no reason to cheat, according to Hikaru, but they still do, for no prize money, for nothing, just because they want to win. And that's one thing. That's not really a problem. Like, okay, it's not for money, not really for big results or anything. But the players who do that in Title Tuesday, they do mess up the tournament, even if they don't win prize money. But they do exist. A lot of players who are willing to cheat, but they don't win any prize money. And it's not so uncommon. And I don't even think it's so strange. It's just a facet of human nature.
Yeah.
And then there is the even more serious thing, which is players who are already very strong, and they boost their results to make the occasional 100 here and there and 1,000 here and there, and eventually they make like 8 grand or something, let's say,
or more.
Very
often more.
Again,
yes.
the sky is often the limit. It really depends on the strength of the player and how willing they are to push it. But certainly there are players who you might not even notice so much. There are even players who I've never even heard their names before, but when I was looking at the list of like small prize money wins, I noticed some players, like some 2450 guy who won a few hundred. I'm not saying that player was cheating or just got lucky in a few events here and there. Either are possible, but certainly there's some money at stake, and it's nice to win a few $100, and it'll make people feel good. And there is some incentive there. You can't tell me that there's not. So that's the other point.
Yeah. Again, let's continue with Hikaru's reaction. Now, a moment where he, in fact, calls you out a little bit. Let's see what he says at around minute 14 at this point.
Earpiece with a second person. You can't check someone's ears on camera. You just won't. I mean, first of all, they're hidden earpieces. You can't see it. And
what Fabiano is also saying here very clearly is he's saying that basically this is actually this feels like a real shot at chess.com, because Fabiano has played in the Chess Champions Tour, and he knows as well as I do that when you play in the Champions Chess Tour, you have to show your ears to the proctors. They ask you to show both of your ears. You have to put your ear right up to the device so they can see your ears. So he's essentially saying then that basically, even though we have to show our ears, that it's complete nonsense and it doesn't work. That's what he's saying essentially, which is very, very serious actually. And I wonder if chess.com is going to respond to what Fabiano is saying, because he knows as well as I do that when we play the Champions Chess Tour, we have to basically show our ears. They literally say show your left ear, show your right ear, show your screen, show your task manager, etc., etc., etc. All right.
Okay, so once again, Hikaru is basically saying that you cannot hide anything in your ears, because chess.com, or during the Champions Chess Tour, they ask you to show your ears to the camera. It can be a webcam, it can be a professional camera. I don't know how seriously you have to get, how close you have to get to the camera with your ear, and basically how deep they can see in your ear. Maybe you can give us some insights into that.
Okay, yeah, again, quite a bit to unpack here. So the first thing is, of course, a lot of the earpieces are invisible. So you won't see anything even in person. And that's why very often they're using detectors on the ear, like Champions Chess Tour, they were like using the nonlinear junction scanner to go near the ear to see if there's something there. They weren't looking inside.
But
because
just to clarify, this was in the over the board events.
In person, in
This is this is for the finals.
Yeah. So I have never been asked to show my ears in the Champions Chess Tour event or the Rapid Chess Championship event, which was in 2022, and the Champions Chess Tour was in 2023. Never once. Now, I was asked, and I don't know if Hikaru is maybe mixing up events, or maybe he just has a different experience. Both are possible. But in the Magnus Tour, I forget exactly what they were called, but they were on Chess 24 before the merger, played in some events where they asked for that. And the reason they asked for that is because a lot of the players who were involved were concerned that other players were cheating, and they wanted to up the measures. And this is one of the measures that they upped, if you want to call it a measure. And this already shows that there was a lot of suspicion among top players against top players, because these Magnus Tour events were all top players. Now, I'm not saying that any of the players were cheating, but there were suspicions. And this was a direct result of that. But in the Champions Chess Tour events, I never got once asked. Now, I'm not saying that Hikaru is wrong, because maybe he was asked or maybe other players were. But personally, I never got asked. I don't think it actually does anything. And I'll just give another example. Even if you could see an earpiece. Now, what they usually do, and this is actually not just for earpieces, but it's generally applicable, is that they ask you to, at least for me, they ask to do a room sweep and to turn on your cameras, to do screen share, to show all parts of the room. You have a camera behind you. Let's say I have a camera right there. I have this webcam in front of me that shows the back part you can see. Now, after I do that, the tournament doesn't start immediately. I am free to go out and about until the tournament begins. This is in all cases the case. So of course they can't tell you, well, now you have 20 minutes until the tournament starts, you can't use the bathroom, right? So once I show them stuff, I can just change things around. Like, imagine if I had to show my ears. Okay, I show my ears, I go into the room, and I put my earpiece in.
Sure.
That's one thing. Also, besides that, I can just change. Like, imagine I showed my room. So there's nobody in my room. You saw the full room. Nobody's here. Okay, 2 minutes later, someone comes in. Are you going to ask me to, during the game, do a room sweep? Like, just imagine if my cheating method was to have someone show me moves from, let's say, my side here, which you can't see. You can't see it in the front camera. You can't see it in this back camera, because that would show my computer screen. You wouldn't see my door, which is here. There's absolutely no way. And that's bare minimum, zero technology cheating with another person. Now, it might not even be another person. It could be a computer that I hooked up so that it shows my current board with the evaluation and so on. And I don't even need the move. I could just have the bar. It like helps me enormously. And a million other things. Like, I don't even want to get into every single thing that could be done. But the fact is that the room sweep and everything, it's better than nothing. The cameras, they're better than nothing, but they don't actually solve against someone who's committed to cheat. But the ear stuff, I just don't remember. Like, I've never been asked since 2021, the last time I was asked to do an ear thing, besides the over-the-board Champions Chess Tour. Online, only once, 2021. I forget the name of what it was called, maybe Meltwater Champion or whatever.
Basically, you were calling it the Magnus Chess Tour.
Yeah, Magnus Chess Tour. It was one of the events. I lost to Jan Nepomniachtchi, if anyone wants to look up the event. That was the last time that I got asked.
Yeah. No, I was hearing about it in 2021, and this was basically at the beginning when, especially in money events where elite level players were playing, generally there were not as many suspicions, but as, some results started pouring in, people started having questions. And then obviously, as you just mentioned, this is when they started asking for new fair play measures, such as showing
one of the reasons why was because in 2020 it sort of exploded, which I don't want to get into the case again, but everyone remembers the Pro Chess League from 2020 and that sort of mini explosion. And then in 2022 it exploded again, and everyone remembers that case because that was the biggest explosion that you could possibly have, right? It went to court.
Mm-hmm.
And there were minor things behind the scenes, but it's not an elitist thing. I just want to make that clear because a lot of things online are like, well, this is just a player who thinks that he has to beat everyone and anyone who outplays him is cheating. But it's not the case. A lot of the suspicions are about players who are equal or close in rating to the top in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and
And it's
Hikaru
not just
has
me,
mentioned this
it's
quite a
other
few
players.
times. No, Hikaru has mentioned this quite a few times. And I mean, we all know what happened between Vladimir and Hikaru, right? More recently. So,
But I'm not talking about like Vladimir and Hikaru, they're two of the best players in history, right?
right.
I'm not just talking about uh I'm not just talking about that. It's like it's across the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just Vladimir and Hikaru, it's not just 2300s. It's pretty much everyone is a suspect. I'm a suspect. Everyone is a suspect. And should be treated as a suspect, like not, I mean, we shouldn't be in prison, but we should be treated as someone who could potentially cheat. I include myself in that. That's why it's not an elitist thing, but it's just the fact that there's opportunity and there's incentive. That's all you really need to understand that there is a potential problem.
Yeah. Opportunity and incentive. Let's move on to another important topic and moment in this video of Hikaru. It's around minute 19 and 40 when we start talking about prize money in online events.
To someone else, the amount of money which has been stolen, I think, is not insignificant. This is why I can't really name names, because it's actually like serious accusations, because there are people who have won hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm sure that not all of them are clean. Like really sure.
This is
Okay,
really
so who's won hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like, is Fabiano saying what I think he's implying? I mean, seriously? I don't think I've even won $100,000 from Title Tuesday. Literally, I've won what? I won 46. Like, I don't think even I've ever won 100,000. So, like, what is he saying? Like, I mean, what is he saying? Like, I mean, I've won the most, and I haven't won $100,000 from Title Tuesday. So, what is he actually saying here? Yeah, this is very, very strange. I mean, is he trying to imply me? Like, seriously? I haven't even won 100,000. But then,
All right, first things first. Are you implying Hikaru?
No, I'm not implying Hikaru. That's the first. Okay, so here's why I said I want to clarify. I'm not talking about just Title Tuesday. That's why, because as Hikaru mentioned, in just Title Tuesday, nobody has won 100 grand. Hikaru has probably won the most, and it may even be close to 100 grand, but it's not 100 grand. And I wasn't talking just about Title Tuesday because I'm talking about the whole of online chess, and I'm not just talking about chess.com events. I'm talking about everything. It includes all the Chess 24 events that were in the past. It also includes, sometimes there's some lead chess events with a prize of like 15 grand. These actually do exist. They're obviously not as common as the chess.com events. And I understand that people maybe thought I was talking about Title Tuesday. I didn't clarify fully, but that wasn't my intention to only limit it to Title Tuesday. Although, of course, I think that Title Tuesday is where you're going to see the highest risk, just because the measures are pretty low, of cheating. But that doesn't mean that's the only place where people could cheat. And people who have, just to talk about people who have won over 100,000. I think you have the top.
I do. Yes, I do. Let's
have it like for all chess.
Let's move to that, and we can actually
So this is for all-
chess. This is online.
No, this is all online chess.
Yes.
No, not all chess. I mean all online chess.
Yes. This is
So,
all online chess, I think. Or
this
is
one-
this just chess.com?
This total game is from chess.com,
Okay.
and the one on the right is overall is from all online. That includes Chess 24. That's why Magnus made 1.3 million. That's why Wesley made 843,000. A lot of
Got it.
that was from Chess 24 events. Same with Hikaru. Magnus did not make 1.3 million from chess.com events. That's also from the Magnus Tour, and so on. And so you already see, and you can keep going down. I think I counted about 26 players. I may be wrong. I think it's at least 26 and maybe more who have made over $100,000. It includes me, by the way. So I'm not trying to implicate anyone in particular because obviously I'm in the list. I'm I guess number 5. No, probably wait.
Number 4.
Magnus, Hikaru, Wesley are cleared, and then Levon 421. So I'm number 5. Is that correct?
I see you
with
as
350.
number 4.
No.
With
Jan is
356.
Well, yeah, but you see, Magnus is 1.3. Hikaru
I see.
961.
Jan is 373. Yes.
Yeah, but Levon is 421
Mhm.
over there. And so maybe I'm number 6, right? Right after Jan. very close.
I'm actually kind of curious. So he made from chess.com Levon 100 and then total 421.
Chess 24 events were huge. There was a lot of money there.
So this was the chess 24 events. Okay, that makes sense.
Majority is chess 24 events. I think for Levon, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All of that besides the, and again, I'm not trying to implicate anyone because I trust Levon basically 100%, as close to 100% as you can get.
Yeah.
I don't want to say 100% for anyone because, well, in general, I think that we should always maintain a tiniest bit of suspicion. But basically, Levon, I don't think that he would ever cheat, and the same with most of these players, right?
Yeah.
But that people have made over 100,000 is undeniable. If you go down the list, you will count.
I think what he meant was 100K from Title Tuesdays, and
yeah,
I'm
but I
glad
didn't
that
mean
you
that.
clarified that.
I did not mean that, just to be clear. But I think that we should talk about the prize thing because it's important. Because I counted among the 26. Some have been banned.
Mm-hmm.
Come back. I won't say who, but among these list of prize winners, not all of them have remained unbanned from chess. And I think from the top 50, it was 4.
Okay.
The top 50 prize winners, I think 4 were banned and then came back.
Okay.
So that's a pretty significant amount, especially from the best players in the world. So that's just one thing.
Yeah.
That's the amount of people who have been caught, banned, and then reinstated.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And obviously, one of those cases got very famous. But of course, yeah, most of these players, I'll say, of course, they're totally clean. But there is no doubt that players have made significant money, including myself, from chess.com events. Not just from chess.com. I don't want to single out chess.com. From online chess events.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Chess also has prize money events. And Lee Chess has their fair play system. I don't have much insight into it, but I would bet that they would also struggle to catch a committed, strong player who is willing to cheat in one of their prize money events.
Yeah. And finally, one more moment to finish up our reaction video is around minute 30 when Hikaru gives his thoughts about what should be done with cheaters.
Why cheaters don't get exposed by everyone like other sports to sway them? I actually think what should happen is I think this notion of not exposing them is a big mistake. I think it should be public. I do believe that, actually. I do. Oh, wait, the arena just ended. I do think that should be made public. But again, it's a problem because, like, if you make it public, you could get sued, I think. That's the thing. Like, you know, if you make it public, you could get sued. Because I'm assuming, like, I don't know what exactly chess.com has said, but I think it's something like 99.99%. Something like that. Actually, my alarm's going off. My stupid security alarm. 1 second. Yeah, and if you get sued, you have to prove it and thus reveal your anti-cheat algorithm. So, yeah, I mean, the whole thing is very difficult. Scared of lawsuits is ridiculous. You can say that, but I mean, at the end of the day, you have to pay legal fees. Like, it's not a joke. I mean, you can say that, but it's not a joke.
So basically, he's saying we should unmask cheaters. Chess.com should unmask cheaters. Lichess, FIDE, whoever catches them should name and shame. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I think that we're basically on the same page. I've also said this to people in chess.com, and I think that they're, like, again, with chess.com, they're not the enemy. They're doing good work, and they want there to be 0 cheaters, just like me, just like Hikaru. But they're in a difficult position because while I can say things without having the responsibility to actually find a solution, and I think it is important at least to talk about it, they actually have to find a solution. And so one solution that I mentioned is that, okay, you increase the risk. So you still have a difficulty finding out who is cheating, but at least whoever is cheating, if they get caught, they know that they're ruined. Which I think is also ethically fair because, first of all, they would go into this with their eyes wide open, the cheaters. So they would know that they're stealing money and they also have a risk to get, let's say, permanently banned. And so what I would think is a pretty fair way of dealing with it is that it's a permanent ban until they return the money that it was proven to be stolen from events that they cheated in. That's one thing. The other thing is to just have a flat ban and a public statement that this person was caught, or like, let's say, a public sort of not a trial, but like some sort of investigation. So we determine this player is cheating. Now they can appeal, but it becomes public. So it's not like it remains behind closed doors that I'm not going to name anyone, but there are players who are active in Title Tuesday making money who have been banned before. And people don't know who they are. And sometimes their name gets like mentioned, but it's not really mentioned very publicly.
Yeah.
That's one thing. So it could become public. I think that returning the money is also a good step, and having maybe a longer ban
Yeah.
from playing in prize events. So they can play on the website, but they can't continue to make money.
Yeah, and I
Which,
think
if you think about it, making money in online chess events is a huge privilege. Just being able to sit at your home, expend a bit of effort, but not much, spend and then make more money than people make in their job in a month, for example, is a huge privilege. So if you abuse that privilege, I don't think it's unfair at all that it gets taken away. I mean, it's basically the least that you can do.
I mean it's stealing.
Yeah,
It's
stealing, yeah.
literal stealing, right? You're stealing money from somebody else's pocket. Forget about the privilege, forget about how, let's say, physically easy it is to do so and how convenient it is from a job's perspective, but it's just pure stealing. So, I mean, we
Yeah,
have to
stealing, of
address it.
course.
We have to deal with it as stealing. So I think Hikaru definitely makes a good point in this one. Name, shame. And I think chess.com directionally is moving towards those type of pastures because
But
right now, yeah, go ahead.
they do have, as Hikaru did mention, an obstacle, which is that, yeah, they will be on the line. Like, I can say you should ban them, and it's easy for me to say, but they're the ones who potentially get taken to court.
But right now, I think every single time that you're playing a Title Tuesday or a money event, you're signing new terms of services. So these are renewed, much more, let's say, brutal terms of services in chess.com's favor. Like they can do whatever they want at this point,
Well,
basically, and I
I
don't
think
think you have the authority to sue them.
what the terms of service say is that it would have to be arbitrated. And I don't know all the legal details, but I guess it makes it a bit less risky for chess.com. But it doesn't mean that they don't still have to go through a process. I mean, uh, again, maybe the lawyers in our chat can clarify. But yeah, it's not like you can't do anything. It's just that I think it gets arbitrated.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that definitely bigger punishments, like if you can't ensure that you catch all the cheaters, at least making sure that they take a risk to cheat. It lowers their incentive. That's the
Yeah.
main thing. Right now, their incentive is so high. It's like you cheat, you make, let's say, let's say you cheat for half a year, you make 5 grand. You get caught, nobody knows. You come back later, you can still make money later. And what's the downside? I mean, you weren't going to make $1 million if you were, let's say, a 2,600 player, but you made 5 grand. Now you take, a few months break from making money, then you come back and nobody's the wiser. And this has happened. Like one of the things which, okay, actually, I'll get into one thing. So I read some of the Reddit stuff, and a lot of people were asking me, "Where's your proof?" And first of all, I don't even understand what they mean by proof.
And I think
Do you
this
want
is
me to
something
show
that
video?
Hikaru is also mentioning quite a few times. He's like, okay, show me the proof, in response to Kramnik's allegations and so on and so forth. Show me the proof.
Okay.
But it's impossible to show physical proof. It literally doesn't
Sure.
exist.
I don't want to get into the Kramnik and Hikaru thing because I don't think Hikaru cheats. So, but
No,
yeah, in terms of
it's not about Hikaru. Like he mentions, Kramnik calling out a few other names.
sure,
I
yeah.
think he mentions Jospim at some point, and
Sure,
so
again,
on
I
and so
don't
forth.
want to mention any names because I'm not trying to accuse people. I don't have like 100% certainty if people are asking, do you have 100% certainty about someone? I don't have 100% certainty about anyone, but you would also not get 100% certainty about any case. Like people who think about some like famous murder case that happened in the 90s. People assume they don't have 100% proof, right? So our bar is never 100%.
Are,
That's
you,
just the
are you
first thing.
talking about OJ?
The other thing is when people ask for proof, even if I
Okay.
had like 100% certainty, whatever that would mean to me, what do you expect me to show you? Like, do you expect me to show you someone's bedroom where they're like consulting a computer and I have it all on video camera and they're playing Title Tuesday at the same time? Like, what are they expecting? If you're asking about proof that people have cheated, I can tell you that um, that more than one player who has been over 2,700 has been banned. Now, they might say, well, I don't believe chess.com bans are 100%. And I believe that the number is actually like close to 5. Uh, but okay, whatever. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. But players who have been at near the top of the world have been banned cheating. So if we assume that that is true, that they were cheating, then is that proof that people do cheat, that people can cheat? The other thing is one of the players who was 2,700 and banned did not win money, prize money in the tournament where he was banned. And this is a fact. So is that proof? Again, I don't know. Now, if you're asking me to like show you statistical proof, anytime people show some numbers or something, it just gets laughed away anyway. So, and obviously nothing is statistically 100% because, well, I've had amazing tournaments that are way above my normal level. I've had terrible tournaments that are way below my normal level. Uh, if I was to win like the next 200 classical games, then you could say, yeah, that's probably proof that he's cheating. But in lieu of that, people don't usually just like decide to win 200 games in a row.
Mhm.
Uh, then what is proof again? Like if a 1700 plays like a 2700 in an event, is that proof? I don't know. There is a chance. There is a chance, right? And that's what people will say. For example, I lost to a 1900. This is in one title Tuesday. This is a one in over 100 event, right? Like I think I'm expected against someone 800 points lower than me, which is
Mhm.
2000, to get 99 out of 100 statistically, maybe even a bit more. I'm not 100% sure. But so someone who's 1900, I'm probably going to maybe the score is likely statistically likely to be 120 to 1, maybe. I don't know, but it's somewhere in that range. But this is not proof, obviously, because if I said, well, this person beat me, therefore they're cheating, nobody would believe it. They would say, well, prove it. It's like, what do you want me to prove?
Yeah.
Uh, of course, I can't prove it. And then they'll say, well, there was a mistake at this moment. You were better. Like, for example, yeah, like sometimes some case goes out and it's like, well, you made a mistake at this moment. And and very often people say on Reddit especially, they're like, well, if you play at this level, if you play so badly, well, even I could beat you.
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe the person saying that is 1400 and they think that because I made one mistake in a game that they suddenly are able to beat me. So part of it is just like pure Dunning-Kruger, like the people who don't know much about chess, thinking um, that like anyone can beat anyone and anything is possible and the sky's the limit and they can beat someone, which maybe even is their like personal wish that they see that like you lost to a player 800 points lower. Well, it gives them some hope for themselves. I don't know. Anyway, it's not entirely relevant, but the question of proof is one in which I can't give you any hard proof, but I can say that there are people who have cheated, who are continuing to play and perform above their average level, as in their FIDE rating, in online events. This to me is like a little bit troubling, but again, is it proof? No, I don't have that. Whatever kind of whatever their threshold for evidence is, I don't have it. I don't think anyone does. I think that they basically don't want to believe that, or they just want to be argumentative, which is also an option, right?
If the engine moves don't fit, you must quit. Now, let us know what you think about this whole discussion in the comments. I think we covered a lot of ground. Hikaru, we're waiting for your response. But yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know how you think the chess world is going to move on from this plague, from this discussion of cheating. Anyway, until next time. See you guys.